Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by today. This is a first in a brand new series here on a brand new channel. Today we are starting a brand new legacy challenge. It is called the Origins Legacy and is brought to life by the fantastic Rosannatxt. There is honestly a lot of setup and thought that goes into starting the save file for this particular legacy challenge. I found it very interesting because it is focused more on setting up a completely populated world rather than playing through generations of one family. So I thought that was super fascinating. You start from a completely blank save file and you slowly populate it, and that is the legacy that you're leaving behind instead of just like 10 generations of the same family. So on Notion, Rosanna has all of the rules of the legacy laid out, including the starting rules, which, like I mentioned, is starting with a completely empty save file. And the big thing we're going to talk about in this video today is mostly the setup of the 4 founding families. Instead of starting with one family, you start with 4. And every family, per the rules of the Legacy Challenge, has to have a completely written out backstory for them to exist in the gameplay. I thought that was really cool because it encourages you to boost up the lore of your save file. It will be completely unique because you are creating every family in there with mindfulness to the storyline. So I'm thinking it's going to produce a lot of interesting stories, a lot of interesting interactions, and I'm hopeful a lot of drama between the founders, especially because, I mean, what's gameplay without a little bit of drama? And I'm hopeful that the different rules and the different play style that is encouraged by this particular legacy challenge will help encourage me to have those more dynamic storylines, or they will help it happen more often by chance. We'll see. In today's video, I'll be showcasing the 4 founding families and the builds that went into their starter homes here in the newest save file. One of the only rules of the save file is that you start in Willow Creek, so that is what we have done today as well. So our 4 founding families are here around, I thought Foundry Cove was very appropriate for most of our founders to live within, although the Archer family does live outside of its little radius. That will probably become more apparent later, if I had to guess. Building is a major subject in this challenge. I plan to do a mix between like gallery builds and building myself, mostly so I don't get burnt out. These first 4 builds I decided to do myself to really try to connect with the families and get inspiration for starting gameplay. I had already written their backstories as a rough backstory just to get inspired before building with each of the families, and it really inspired how I did the builds and how I thought about putting the houses together. I also, you'll notice, have stuck to kind of a early colonial type theme. I thought doing the first generations of this world, at least in the kind of earlier time period, but it's more of like on a TV show earlier time period where it's not super historically accurate, but you know, it looks cute. That's kind of the vibe that we're going for. So now that I have laid all of that groundwork, let's introduce you to each of the families. The first family I want to introduce you to is the Juno family. They are a set of sisters, one older, one younger. The older sister's name is Jacqueline and the youngest sister's name is Karis. They live on a property they were just able to afford from their late father's estate. They've lived a thoroughly sheltered life thus far and have humble desires. A farm to call their own, a place where a few chickens and a merry cow can graze. They hope to establish themselves as grocers, earning a living on their own merit. That part of their background is what inspired the overall style and size of the lot. I chose kind of a smaller lot for the sisters and designed it for the idea of leaving room to expand a farm area as well as a selling of that produce area, hopefully with some kind of market stall set up and maybe even eventually a business, but we'll see kind of how that progresses. I haven't planned it out that far yet. Jacqueline, the older sister, is definitely the more serious of the two. It is definitely a more typical older sister who is stern and is now new head of the household, and younger sister who is a little bit more naive, a little bit more idealistic. Jacqueline has the traits of unflirty, an animal enthusiast, and a plant lover. Karis, meanwhile, has the traits loves outdoors, plant lover like her sister, and love bug. Jacqueline is the biggest proponent of wanting to have a farm that is fully self-sustainable, being able to sell their own produce, being able to have their own animals, perhaps competing in a fair or two. Her aspirations are very humble. They're very down to earth. She is not looking for a lot except for stability and doing it on her own. Karis is going to start in the gardener career. It is one of the careers that is automatically unlocked and accessible when we start the game and isn't behind any kind of unlock later on. She is generally a little more affable and more content to be out in the public eye and help support her sister by helping support with funds right now while Jacqueline works to get their farm started and off the ground. The little bit of intrigue here is the fact that Jacqueline believes that her and Karis are very much on the same page about everything. And on some things they are, but there is definitely a secret that is starting to brew between them. Both sisters claim to want an independent life away from the duties of families and husbands, but only one of them is being honest. Karis has a secret romantic heart, wishing one day to be swept off her feet by a handsome stranger. She loves her sister and wants to help make the farm a success, but will her wandering eye cause problems in the end? So I'm not gonna lie, I do have great hopes for this series as something that kind of plays as almost a novella or a soap opera, if you will, where each episode going forward of gameplay will kind of be a little check-in with each family, going over the juiciest things that have happened with them that week, kind of like a weekly check-in to see where the legacy file is as a whole. And obviously if there's any unlocks of different lots, community builds, or anything really important, that will definitely be covered and revealed each week through our updates. I think trying to play rotationally and challenging myself that way will be super interesting. It's not something I've ever tried before, so we will see how it goes, see how successful this becomes. I have my fingers crossed, and I think it'll prove interesting at the very least. The next family I'm introducing here is one that I'm actually most intimidated to be trying to play. They are the Fairbanks family. Before I get started describing who the Fairbanks are, I just wanted to describe my building method and strategy here for this one. This was actually the last build that I did, and so my strategy was a little bit different for this last one just because there were so many people in the house. The Fairbanks are the largest family starting out in the town with a foursome, and so I was really paranoid and wanted to make sure that everything that they needed was something going to be covered by the budget before I started building. Some of the other houses I had already built by this point, I had kind of run out of some money because I had started with what I wanted the house to look like first and not what it needed. So that was the first bit there where I was grabbing random furniture and buying it just so I made sure that was already covered by the budget. So now that I covered that, let me introduce you to the Fairbanks. So the Fairbanks, like I mentioned, consists of 4 members. They are the typical nuclear family, 2 adults, 2.5 kids. They don't have a pet yet, but ideally I imagine them having some kind of dog more than likely. They seem like a dog family. The Fairbanks represent one of the founding ideals for this town, family ties. They are a well-established family, and the 2 young boys take after their fisherman father. The fisherman career is also one that is already unlocked when we start the game, and so that is why I decided on the fisherman career for the father of the family, Orlo. Orlo definitely leads the family by example. He is a very altruistic guy. He is there for the good of the town, the good of his family, the good of the people. He is genuinely a really great guy who just wants everybody to succeed, although he does not have grand ideals or plans for the town itself. More so, he just wants to make sure that it all helps provide for the people who live here. His traits specifically are generous, outgoing, and loves the outdoors. I thought that suited his fisherman plan very well. It is only a part-time position, so I'm wondering what I might try to guide him towards as far as maybe something we can unlock for a more lucrative career for him. We'll see. I haven't gotten that far in my planning yet, but for now he is going to be a fisherman, so that is what he's going to be working on most to begin with in our gameplay. His wife, Bianca, is the matriarch of the family. She is definitely the disciplinarian. She runs the household. She takes care of everything, cooks, cleans, makes sure the kids are taken care of and are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I see her as firm but not cruel or strict really, just has high expectations and kind of expects them to be followed. Her traits are neat, family-oriented, and an idealist. So she definitely shares Orlo's outlook of wanting the town to be successful, supportive of the families that live there, sustainable in how they operate. She is definitely a supportive wife and a very loving mother. What you'll come to find out about me if you continue to follow along with the series is I'm definitely more comfortable and more well-versed in the drama-verse rather than like traditional non-traumatized family function. So that's probably why the Fairbanks intimidate me and why I'm not as sure what I'm going to be doing with them directly as I am for some of the other families. It's like they don't have a bendy bone in their bodies yet, and so I'm like, well, what am I going to even do with them? They're just going to love each other and be sweet and kind and like, woo. So definitely leaves a lot of room for growth and interesting twists and turns because I don't even know what they're going to be yet. The two sons, Lincoln and Jared. Lincoln is the teenager, Jared is the young child. They basically take after their father. They're very outdoorsy. They like to be active. They like to be out doing things. Lincoln is romantically reserved and a dog lover. He is currently part of the manual laborer career just to help out his family, especially since, like I mentioned, Orlo will be working part-time. And Jared loves outdoors. He likes helping his mom outdoors with the outdoor chores. I imagine Bianca establishing a canning garden hopefully soon. And yeah, that's the Fairbanks. They are a very awesome family, and I'm sure we're going to find some interesting positions to put them in. Our third family that we are talking about today is our only singleton. The Archer family consists only of one so far, Leopold. Leopold Archer is a seasoned career entrepreneur. Whenever anyone asks, it seems he has a different response for how he is currently funding his business ventures in the new town. Some have heard it's from investments from future settlers looking to get in early before the township explodes. Others have been told he's a wealthy widower, still grieving his lost love, but trying to remember her last breath had been to beg him to love again. Still another had once heard tales that he'd been seen prospecting in secret hills for gems and riches untold. While it's never quite certain what Leopold is up to in his off time, when he is in town, he is often lobbying for the next new build. His attitude is more focused on the expansion of the township and the profits they can reach as founders. To anyone who will listen, he assures this town will be a roaring success. Leopold has the traits of ambitious, mean, and shady. So I won't lie, he might not be one of the most well-liked Sims, but I think he has plans for being a big name here in the town. I imagine Leopold to have big plans, big dreams, big aspirations to be important in the township, to be known as one of the most successful founders in town. He's just probably not going to do it with the most lawful means. For his build, I had a few simple goals. One of them was to be one of the only 2-story houses in the township so far. Since he only had one sim to build for, I felt like I had a little bit more room in the budget to kind of be a little bit more ostentatious versus more practical. Realistically, so far the top floor is more decorative than anything else, just because I am not able to fund everything with the 20K that we start with, but I think it had a good starting base for him. The second floor mostly contains his bedroom, which is literally basically just a bed. One of the major zones I wanted him to have was a seating area so he could woo some potential ladies that come in his direction, potentially as benefactors for his new business ventures. If you've ever watched The Producers, especially the one with Uma Thurman, Matthew Broderick, Nathan Lane. It's one of my favorite musicals, and the way Nathan Lane's character funds all of his playbills, that's entirely how I imagine Leopold here funding his builds as well. For each of the founding families, I kind of randomly decided a color for them, and for the Archer family, I chose purple as kind of that royal, self-important, luscious, luxurious color. I definitely thought it felt like it fit Leopold's vibe. I made sure every starting house had all the necessities covered so far as a bathroom, somewhere to sit, somewhere to cook, somewhere to sleep, somewhere to shower. It has all the essentials. With this layout specifically, I kind of had to get creative, or I made myself get creative, I guess. Mostly because originally I was kind of hoping that maybe the upstairs would just be decorative at first and not planning to build anything up there at all. Even though I had put the stairs in, they were mostly there for the aesthetic. So I was really trying to squeeze in some creative room shapes to better fit in the space of the bottom floor. At this point I was still thinking that maybe I could squeeze it all in, but eventually I gave up on that idea and moved the bedroom upstairs, mostly because I really felt it was important for him to have that entertaining space over next to the bathroom. All in all, I see Leopold as somebody who is definitely going to be the instigator in a lot of the more dramatic storylines in the founders' families. I won't lie, I am finishing this video with what so far is my favorite family. This is the Graves family. They are the family that I brainstormed with first, the initial founding family, if you will, in my brain. Lore-wise, I don't really anticipate any of them being marked as first versus fourth joining of the founders, but who knows, maybe in gameplay it'll somehow come up. Let me introduce you to them. Christopher and Violet Graves. Christopher is an older mortician with enough ego to support his status as one of the founding fathers of the town. His younger bride Violet is there upon the promise of wealth, as he bestowed a rather large dowry payment to her family for her hand. She currently finds him repulsive, but her materialistic impulses mean her love can be bought. Christopher's traits are nosy, snob, and macabre, while Violet is also nosy, but materialistic and high maintenance. Christopher has aspirations to join the graveyard keeper career path, but that is locked behind building a cemetery in our town, and so a cemetery will be the first community build that we are fundraising for. Christopher will definitely be at the forefront of lobbying for everybody's contributions to build the graveyard, and he will certainly view that space as his space and his place to go feel self-important, even if he doesn't fund it himself. We'll see where they land there. Christopher has definitely sunk most of his wealth in paying for Violet, as well as establishing their first home here in the township. He knows getting that job going is very crucial because if Violet isn't happy, she is sure to make his life more miserable. They never actually had much courtship, for the dealings were dealt with mostly between Christopher and Violet's father, and his eyes were definitely greedy for somebody beautiful and alluring on his arm, but he was definitely looking for someone also without much opinion and a quiet temperament to be something beautiful on his arm as he lobbied for his desires and his goals. Violet, unfortunately, is very much not a quiet and relaxed soul. She has the aspiration to be fabulously wealthy, and she is going to get that one way or another. She may be young and she likes to pretend that she's naive, mostly so it benefits her, but she's noticed the lack of staff, the lack of proper furnishings around the home. She's noticed that things aren't exactly as polished and luxurious as she was imagining. Will this lead to some kind of plot in order to get Christopher out of the picture? Will this lead to her somehow secretly finding a way to make her own means so she will live in luxury no matter what Christopher is doing? Or will some secret, strange options I haven't even considered yet pop into opportunity and we'll just have to take them? So far as the building for the Graves family, I definitely stuck to a monochromatic color palette as much as I could. I went with the grays, the charcoals, the blacks. I wanted it to be dark without being too light suffocating. I still wanted there to be light in the home, hence there was a lot of windows. Although Violet, of course, demanded that each window have its own curtain. They also have a 2-floor home, although the footprint of it is definitely a narrower build than the Archer residence. This build definitely will need a little bit more funding and adding things to it, but I'm sure buying more things will make Violet quite happy in the end, so I don't think that's a burden she's going to mind. So, as you can see, there's a lot to prepare, a lot going on. There's going to be a lot going on all throughout the series, I'm hoping. That's one of the reasons I think it'll be super interesting and super entertaining to watch and be a part of. I'm really hoping for opportunities for community engagement in guiding which way the stories will go. I think that would be a really fun opportunity for collaborating and adding even more randomness and surprises into the save file. There's a few more mechanics and surprises along the way that I haven't discussed yet that I will definitely go into more in depth as we go into the actual gameplay. So I hope you stick around for that, and I really appreciate any of you who went through all the lore and history of my brand new save file here with the Origins Legacy Challenge. Are any of you interested in doing this particular challenge? All the links that I'm using will be down in the description box below. And I really hope that I see some of you returning for the next episode where we actually start getting some gameplay going. And I hope wherever you are that you are also indulging in your comfort getaway from the reality we're living in. Bye!